Let's move on. Last thing I want to react to, just because I've been neglecting a little bit of that Elden Ring lore, and of course we got here, as some people in the comments have lovingly called her, the lore mommy. Myth Chalice, once again bringing us an amazing cosplay and a great video on the lore of Elden Ring. She goes pretty in-depth with this stuff, so mad respect to the effort and work you put into it, my dude.
Warrior? To defend those who cannot defend themselves.
And now, Nepheli was one of those characters that I feel like I probably missed a lot of her storyline, though I was able to help her quite a bit.
A warrior born of pain and suffering.
Now, at my point in the story, her pops was like, "I don't like you no more. I don't want you." And then she got all sad, and I gave her the Stormhawk, which she really, really loved. And I haven't seen her since. And then her dad, Gideon, over here, tried to moid me, and so I had to, moidalize him back. So I don't I don't know what else I'm missing. So at this point, I'm pretty sure any spoilers I get is gonna be like, at this point. I'm getting really close to the end on that.
In fact, it is Gideon who is the father that Nepheli spoke of.
I understand you've been speaking to Nepheli. She's my daughter. I took her in when she lost the guidance of grace.
Based on the use of took her in, Gideon isn't Nepheli's biological father. He took her under his wing as an adoptive father. He promised Nepheli that if he were the one to become Elden Lord, he wouldn't allow the weak to be oppressed again. And for this, Nepheli saw unquestioning loyalty to him, vying for him to become Elden Lord.
Oh, I didn't know he went that deep. Goodness.
Gideon isn't all that he appears to be.
Yeah, he tried to moid me.
Nepheli at the entrance to the village of the Elden
Spoilers, my bad.
But
it's a lore video, I'm sorry.
Hundreds of Albinoric people hanging, bodies piled high, and any survivors can be heard.
I did do this part.
Pain. There has been a massacre here, innocents slaughtered without reason. Nepheli mourns them, triggering a memory in her when she was young.
I witnessed a sight much the same in my infancy. The oppression of the weak. Murder and pillage unchecked. A waking nightmare made by men.
It is saddening that Nepheli is not unfamiliar with this kind of brutality, but her heart has not become cold to it. She vows to avenge these Albinorics, to track down the one responsible and make them pay.
Justice to the oppressors. Let the scars I carve remind them. I am Nepheli Lu, warrior.
When we return to the Round Table Hold, we realize that, sadly, she will not have to look very far. She sits alone, underground.
Okay, yeah, I got to this point. I did this.
Speak to us.
Oh, this is pretty early on. I must have missed so much.
She
Oh.
has clearly learned of the perpetrator's
So far, I'm so good.
identity. Her own father, Gideon.
Gideon did that?
Be heard. Indeed. It seemed the whelp harbored suspicions.
I didn't know that!
I had no further use for her. Honestly, what's a man to do?
Without a second thought, Gideon
I did not get that from the interactions. Oh, goodness. All right.
disowns her. This is the man who Nepheli trusted, the one who took her in her time of need.
I gave her a
promised to fulfill
Stormhawk, and she was like
everything her
super
heart
happy with it.
yearned
I don't
for.
know what else to
But it was all a
do.
lie. She was just a tool, a pawn in Gideon's plan. Because we accidentally foiled his scheme by defeating that omen killer at the village of the Albinorics. And as a result,
Oh,
Gideon
yeah.
carelessly casts Nepheli aside, drops her like an object that has long surpassed.
What was
use.
Gideon's plan
And the
then?
worst part of all,
I'm gonna
is
have to watch that
Nepheli,
lore video.
Instead of being outrightly furious with Gideon, she questions if what she did was the right thing.
Rather, Lord Gideon has offered me guidance all my life. I would have done anything for him, to place him on the throne of Elden Lord. And yet
Go ahead. Sorry, turning on Do Not Disturb mode.
My intent. I betrayed him.
Her head begins to swim with feelings of self-doubt, abandonment, blame. All the while her heart screams back that this is wrong, scarred from the deep wound of witnessing the same injustice years and years ago.
To think he'd order his men to enact such tragedy.
Yeah, he's literally the same thing that you went through.
He once told me that if he became Elden Lord, he would never allow the downtrodden to be cheated ever again. Was he simply lying to me?
It's difficult to sit back and
Dude,
watch Nephili
yeah,
struggle with
probably.
this, as
See,
she
that's why I'm
continues to
simping for
call
Mistress
Gideon
Ronnie,
her
because Mistress
father.
Ronnie,
It's
she like, I'm
important
from the
to
moon,
understand why
baby.
Gideon
She like,
did this
yeah,
in the first place.
make you my husband,
So
though.
Gideon was the one who ordered the village to be razed to the ground, because he was searching for a medallion, or rather, one half of it that an Albinauric was guarding. And because we
Yeah, I got
Nephili
that.
stepped in,
And then what's his face
search
with the
was cut
skeleton
short.
face? He tried to moid me
So
too.
what is so special about this item? Well, the
I don't
reason
know.
why there are two halves is because when they combine, it will allow access to a secret area, Mikula's
Oh.
Halig Tree. This area was kept a secret.
I have not
because
found
it was
that.
created to be a safe haven for the Albinauric people. And in order to keep it safe, Albinaurics
Oh.
made accessing it difficult by splitting the key into two pieces. The reason
Just like
why
getting to
Gideon's
the
men
Golden
couldn't
City,
find that
the
half
capital.
of the medallion in the village is because the one bearing it cleverly disguised
Yeah, that guy.
themselves as an unassuming pot.
And I don't remember where I got the other half.
I'm Albus, an Albinauric. As you can see, we're finished. The whole village is finished. The cursemongers have destroyed everything. No one that remains has their wits about them.
As if the Albinaurics haven't had a hard enough time, they are also cursed with a short lifespan. So Albus, seeing that we are not
Oh,
like
I didn't
those
know
other
that.
savages, entrusts us with his half of the medallion and tells us where we can find the other half. Then he sadly passes away. Now, something that I didn't mention yet is that after you receive the medallion and return to the Round Table hold,
Yeah!
something quite sinister will happen.
The skeleton dude.
The area looks off, but before we have a chance to realize exactly why, a nasty surprise comes rushing at us from around the corner. Ensha,
Like, I didn't even
Gideon's
realize that
personal
was the
guard,
dude.
runs at us, glowing a familiar red color, just like an invader. He strikes first, and we have no choice but to fight back. After doing so, we can question Gideon as to what prompted this.
Wow, you wrecked him quickly. I struggled a little bit. Goodness, you were good at this.
Since you got there,
Miss Chalice is a friggin' beast.
As his master, I'd like to express my regret. But now, Ensha's slain and gone. Finished. Forevermore.
So you sent him, and then you
Strange
pretend like you didn't know
reaction,
nothing.
No remorse, and no explanation as to what exactly Ensha was getting ahead of. This event will trigger as long as you have received this half of the medallion, which begs the question, did Gideon order Ensha to take us out because he knows that
Most
we possess
definitely.
the medallion he's been seeking? Gideon does not have access to the Halig Tree area, which we later learn is filled with information about Mikula and Melania. Consequently, there is a large gap in his library of knowledge. The reason Gideon wants to unlock the route to the Halig Tree is because, like his name suggests, he wants to know all. But what really
He is
throws
Gideon the
me off is
All-Knowing.
when Gideon
Ooh.
says,
Ah, yes. By way of apology, allow me to tender some advice in regard to the half of the secret medallion you possess.
how does Gideon know that we possess one half of the medallion? We just arrived at the Round Table hold. We barely had any time to exchange 2 words before being ambushed, let alone recount our tales of the Albinauric village. Unless Gideon had other ways of finding out. Let me be clear when I say that Gideon is called the All-Knowing, but he's not omniscient. A more accurate description would be Gideon.
Yeah, he has a lot of ears. I just know. Yeah, okay, yeah, I remember this. This is from the beginning of the game, the intro.
The eternal student. He relies on gathering new information to document the history, the characteristics, the weaknesses of gods, demigods, and shard-bearers. Which brings me back to my point. How did Gideon know we had retrieved half of the medallion? Well, this might be due to the mention of someone called the All-Hearing. When you speak to a particular crone, she gives us a cryptic hint.
The all-hearing slaughtered, but alas, it was for naught.
See, this is why you don't talk in riddles. If you would have told me, I would have been smacked him.
Snatch it from the big pot.
The big pot.
The big pot
Alexander?
might refer to Albus, and the all-hearing one could
Who?
be reference to 2 potential candidates.
Alexander the Jar.
We have Ensha. It would kind of make
Nope?
sense
Okay.
that Gideon, all-knowing, would have a counterpart called ensure the all-hearing. It would also explain why
Oh!
Aesha immediately attacked us once we had returned from the village. He either has the ability to overhear conversations, like the one we had with Albus, or, just like how the title of All-Knowing is a half.
How's it going, Master Sam? Learning about the game, or more like simping to her? A little bit of both. A little bit of A, a little bit of B.
Do the listening for him. However, this theory mostly consists of pure speculation. There isn't too much hard evidence. However, this brings me to our second candidate, Gideon himself. All-hearing could be another nickname.
I mean, his beard is made out of ears. Look at it. Y'all notice that, right? Again, this is why I'm like, Elden Ring needs to give us a full screen item looky, because, like, his beard, it looks like a beard, but it's not. It's a bunch of ears. It's just a bunch of ears.
Addition to the this can be confirmed by one piece of physical evidence.
By one piece? Oda?
Set with countless eyes and ears.
Yeah,
The
it's
symbology
creepy.
speaks for itself, but not necessarily the functionality. These body parts are decorative. They can't actually hear, can they? This is where I want to mention.
I still keep telling people, look
theory by
closely at the
Vtuber
Sword of Night and Flame. It's
linked the
freaking
symbol
awesome,
of
dude.
Gideon's armor to a very small similar detail on the scarabs. These marks look like eyes and ears, and we find these scarabs patrolling around the lands between.
Yeah.
So could it be that this is some form of surveillance system for Gideon, and the places where there are no scarabs
really?
are blind spots in his knowledge? The post goes into a lot more detail.
Well, are there any of those in the Haligtree area? Would be a good way to find that
It
out.
also reminds me of Bao Huang's power from One Piece, being able to see everything that
Right.
could see.
I'm glad you brought it up.
The scarabs are like a CCTV system. It's sinister to think that someone could be...
That's why I mentioned Oda, by the way.
recording your every action, or in real life, everything that you do online. That's where I'm happy to reintroduce our champion and sponsor for this video, NordVPN.
Sponsor.
NordVPN can help
Get your
protect
money.
you from malware. Say you get an email
Get that
from someone
paycheck,
who
Miss
looks like your
Chalice.
friend. They tell
I'll
you
let
to
it
check
play,
out the
'cause
picture they've attached. You click to download the image.
'Cause
and
why
now
not?
your device
Dude,
is
freaking-
infected. Your data is
Yeah,
stolen,
ooh.
destroyed, or even ransomed.
Just
with
great
NordVPN,
commercial.
you can protect
Dude, honestly,
yourself
like,
from malware
that's what
like
I'm gonna
this.
have to go down there, because if there's any of those
It scans
beetles
these
in the
incoming
Haligtree
files
area,
and warns you of any
that'd be a good way
danger.
to disprove
If
it.
you
But if
use
there's
my code
none,
Miss Chalice,
oh, for
you'll
sure,
get a
then that's
huge
gonna be.
discount when you purchase a
I mean, I
TV
guess he
plan,
could have,
but you'll
like,
also get 1 month
sent some in when you go
free.
down there.
And for
I don't know if
limited
that would
time
really,
only,
if that's the
you
way it
can
would
help
work, you know?
celebrate NordVPN's 11th birthday. With your purchase, you will also receive a mystery gift, which is
Yo,
additional
NordVPN, where's the
subscription time.
sponsorship at, bro?
It's
Come on.
risk-free with no 30-day money-back guarantee. Please consider using my code if you want to get this exclusive NordVPN deal. Thank you again, NordVPN.
Honestly, y'all want a real
And
good
now
reason to use
let's
NordVPN or any VPN, really, at that point?
To
It's
summarize.
Netflix, my dude. You can get a lot of stuff is restricted here in the US, so you can get a lot of cool content, especially from Japan and Korea. Oh, on Netflix.
Perhaps it was Gideon who knew that we had acquired the medallion.
Great
and
movies,
sent
by the way.
Ensha to ambush us, and then when we approached him, he lied and passed all the blame onto Ensha. Now we've discussed Gideon's methods and motive, let us return back to Nefeli. She will be stuck ruminating over this betrayal, unable to break free from the mess in her head. But we have the opportunity to remind her of who she is, what she has come from. To do this,
By giving her the
use the function
Stormhawk.
of the Stormhawk.
Yes, I gave her that.
When Nefeli sees it, a memory sparks within her.
Which, by the way, read the description for the Stormhawk King. So freaking awesome. So the Stormhawk King is basically the king, like imagine, literally the king of the Stormhawks, of all of them. And he's so freaking proud that he refuses to be summoned as a regular summon. So, like, all the actions that you're summoning, like, you're summoning them and they're appearing, but this Stormhawk King is too proud to even allow you to summon it. Like, that's crazy, dude. I love it.
I can smell the ancient storm in it. My thanks. I'll gladly take it. It reminds me of my first hawk. Thank you.
The reason why this is so significant to Nefeli is that the use of the word first indicates that this was a tradition from her birthplace. But this is no ordinary hawk that we've given her now.
Nah, it is the king, my
These are
dude.
the ashes of a hawk, revered by all others as sovereign, back in the days when Stormvale's winds still raged like no other. Sovereign meaning these are the ashes of a king,
Yeah!
Which king we will get into later, but
The
it is
king.
a powerful enough symbol to reinvigorate Nepheli with her usual strong warrior spirit. We will next find her back in Stormhawk.
I wonder if the king is also a demigod.
The happy news that she did indeed follow her heart and stick to her
Oh!
words.
I told Father I would be with him no longer. I remembered the vow I took when I first became a warrior.
I haven't... Wait, what? Did I miss this? I missed this. Oh, no!
Like the one from which
Can I still get here?
Nepheli gathered the courage to leave the Round Table hold, and by extension, leave Gideon. It's
Yeah,
interesting
screw
that
Gideon.
She still calls him father, despite everything he did to hurt her.
Well, if he raised her,
Goes to
I
show
mean...
that Nepheli is an incredibly good-natured individual. She doesn't badmouth Gideon. She simply focuses on moving on, remembering why she became a warrior in the first place. And interestingly, this was also due to the help of another person.
Bro, why does she
called
look like
Kenneth
Hinata from
White.
Naruto? Is she
Kenneth
dressed as
is
a
a
character of Elden
nobleman
Ring?
who needs
Yeah, literally Nepheli, right there. This one. She's cosplaying Nepheli.
Interestingly, this was also due to the help of another person called Kenneth Height. Kenneth is a
No, she don't got that Hinata vibe, though.
Reclaiming his form,
On some real
which
stuff.
has been overrun. However, when we complete his
Ah, crud! It's this dude! Oh, I totally let... Okay, now I get it. So this dude has such an ego, I pretty much just, like, left him. He was like, hey, I need your help. The great almighty me needs help. And I'm like, yeah, go screw yourself. And I sort of walked away from him.
tells us that he's seeking someone
Okay.
more fitting to be the ruler.
I suppose you must have seen it by now, yes? The sorry state of my fort? Oh, indeed, it is a foul fate for a land to be without a ruler.
Great, I'm about to go talk to him now.
It's much more cutthroat and dangerous for someone like him to rise to a position of power alone.
But a true and stalwart lord of the proper lineage to take the reins of Limgrave.
Someone who has the proper lineage, and that person is Nepheli.
Really?
Why her? Not that I'm complaining, Nepheli has many ideal characteristics of a great leader. She's caring, honest, and steadfast in her beliefs. But how exactly does she possess the birthright? This is all to do with her name, her last name, Lu. And you may be familiar with another character who shares this same last name.
Nope.
Horalu, also known as Godfrey.
Oh!
That Nepheli is related to Horalu in some way. Perhaps not directly like a
Godfrey's name is Lo as
some
well?
form of descendant. So how do we know this? Well, Horalu's story originates from somewhere called the Badlands, and we find this out from the armor set you get if you choose the hero starting class. Following the example of their chieftain Horalu,
I have this set.
brave warriors of the Badlands shun excess adornment. Although Nepheli refers to herself as a warrior, which is a whole other starting class, she most definitely wears the armor of those from the Badlands. She's repeatedly
champion set,
mentioned
yeah.
that she's not from this area, which would imply that she grew up elsewhere, in a land where Horalu was the leader. Let's take a few steps back and talk about why Horalu is calling himself Godfrey and vice versa. To begin, there was Godfrey, Marika's first husband. He did her bidding. He led the war against the giants, faced the
You can get his
storm,
crown? I didn't know that.
and then there came a moment when his last worthy enemy fell, and it was then, as the story is told, that the hue of Lord Godfrey's eyes faded.
Whoa.
moment-
Dude, this is like, I've heard, like, because so far, like, it literally all the people who are guided by grace, including you, have been from outside of the lands between. So it's like, if the, what is the Two Fingers, or the great, the other power, whatever it's called, it's like they're bringing in all the royalty, all the lords that are, like, supposed, because if Nepheli is a lord, that means it's like, hey, bring in that lord to replace Godfrey, because he's messing up the lands in between. You're coming in to become Elden Lord, because, you know, nobody has sat the throne, and they've allowed the entire frickin' society to collapse upon itself, right? Which is why Ronnie the Witch's storyline seems to be bringing death back to the lands between. So all the lords are able to die if you go through Ronnie's quest line and bring in the Age of Darkness.
Godfrey lost
Or the Age of the
darkness
Moon,
grace.
rather.
That could be what the last line is referring to by the light fading, and as such, he was exiled from the land.
That's a trip.
This was all part of Marika's plans. Melina tells us Marika's words.
Return to the land.
I'm still convinced Millennia's America, or is the original, like, Lord, or God, or whatever.
Wage war. And brandish the Elden Ring. Grow strong in the face of death.
Well, she just... I should probably watch the storyline for Millennia now. She has a lore video, I think, for Millennia. And I just, you know, she just burned up on my story, and my playthrough, so... now might be a good time to figure out her situation.
Godfrey was the first one to ever be classified as a tarnished. So Godfrey
was the first tarnished.
But he didn't go alone. He took with him his kinfolk and left the lands between. After the long march of the Tarnished came to an end, Godfrey divested himself of kingship, becoming a simple warrior once more. This is where Hoaraloo was born, the chieftain of the Badlands, as we hear in the game's cinematic introduction.
Whoa! That's insane!
Embracing his savage warrior.
So is she his Godfrey's daughter? Or just descendant?
Axe of Godfrey was broken in a battle fought as leader of the Tarnished during the Long March. This weapon is symbolic of Godfrey's vow.
Oh great, what is the Long March?
As a lord. This axe is also a symbol, a gift given at the start of his reign, but now it is broken when he was cast out. The symbology of it breaking, or perhaps Godfrey breaking it himself, removes any ties to his lordship and the status and the decorum alongside it. It probably came as some relief. Whilst Godfrey was serving as Lord and Marika's husband, he had to repress his insatiable need to spill blood. When he vowed to become a lord, he took the beast regent Sarosh upon his back to suppress the ceaseless lust for battle that raged within.
The beast regent? So that lion is also royalty.
This explains why when we fight Godfrey at his phase 2 turning point, he
or at least to some degree. Oh goodness. I wonder what that... Oh goodness. Alright, I think that's... We're gonna fight that dude, I think, soon.
As a limiter to his power, but the savagery associated with it, tearing this loyal animal to pieces, showering himself with its blood. This is who Godfrey really is.
Now I fight as Hoaraloo. Warrior!
Yeah!
Are exactly the same as Nephilim. They are definitely connected.
Same last name, also a warrior. Oh, come on!
The same path as a warrior, and both possess a claim to rule the lands between. This is why Kenneth deems Nephilim suitable to be the next leader of Limgrave. He sees her as having Godfrey's bloodline. Now, how directly they are related...
That's awesome!
Debate, like I said, it's my personal opinion that they are not...
Bro, I have to try to get that. I would love my canon to be that me and Ronnie become the lords, or Ronnie becomes, you know, I become Elder Lord, Ronnie's my freaking wife, and freaking Nepheli is one of the lords of Limgrave. That'd be sick!
Didn't say anything before.
Oh, and Alexander Jar is totally becoming my personal bodyguard, like 100%, dude. Freaking love Alexander the Jar. Oh, the warrior Jar. Sick!
Acknowledgement of their relationship, which seems like a missed opportunity if they were indeed father and daughter. Now, as to why you can summon Nephilim here...
So you can summon her! Oh!
...mention of the Stormhawk King.
Definitely don't want to fight him without that then. Oh, I want her to be in my fight.
Questions. What exactly is a Stormhawk? Why do we not see any of these birds around? Well, we can actually see Stormhawks, or rather what's left of them.
With the, yeah, they've had their legs cut off.
They are technically classed as warhawks, but that was after they were brutally maimed. These were originally Stormhawks, but their talons had been sliced off so that razor-fine swords could be grafted in their place. As soon as we hear the word grafting, we know that this is the handwork of Godric.
Yeah.
These beautiful birds were not spared from his twisted experimentations, cutting off their talons and replacing them with blades to manufacture them into savage killing machines.
Goodness.
It also might explain a connection between Nephilim and the Stormhawks because we meet her at Stormvale Castle.
So did Godric kill the Stormhawk King, maybe?
Fits a lord. He's tainted the very winds. If you intend to challenge Godric, I ask you call upon me.
But what were they like in their prime majesty? There are other Stormhawk ashes of a hawk called
Oh yeah,
Dubby.
my dude. You said
Look.
Thimbleweed Park. Yeah, I remember we watched the trailer, my dude. I added it to the rotation. Pretty much the way I've been doing things is gonna be like once I finish one game, it pretty much replaces that game. Like Elden Ring, we're getting pretty close to the end, so pretty soon that's gonna be replaced. I wouldn't mind doing Thimbleweed Park next, absolutely, and adding that to the rotation. But I did add it to the list already.
That they were
Thank you, my
a fierce
dude.
hawk that faithfully rendered lifelong service to the old king of Stormvale long ago, when the true storm raged. This sentence reveals a lot.
I don't have that one.
Firstly, it paints us a picture of how the lands used to be. On the map, we have Stormvale Castle, preceded by an area called Stormhill. And based on Dean's ash description, we can assume that the winds used to be spectacular here. So strong they would embolden the abilities of the Stormhawks, allowing them to shred through their foes. But what else we learn is that they faithfully rendered lifelong service to the old king. Could this king be the Stormhawk king?
Yes.
So, then they were the previous ruler of
That's some
Stormvale.
Lord of the Rings stuff. That's some
What
Gandalf
happened
and
to
the
end
freaking
this rule?
the giant eagle
Well, as
stuff.
it turns out, the king may have had a connection to Godfrey. Specifically, it was mentioned that Godfrey fought someone called the Storm Lord.
Oh,
The
maybe
Storm
Godfrey
was
killed him.
defeated. When we talk about spirit ashes and their place in the universe, we also refer to them as spirits. They are those who have died in some manner. Which
Yeah.
explains why we now have the Stormhawk ashes. But this also might explain why Nephili wants to fight Godfrey. Nephili has a strong affinity with storms and Stormhawks. Her weapon of choice is a Stormhawk axe, which is a signature weapon of warriors who strive to remain one with the storm, despite being so far from their place of birth. And Nephili's last
That's
words
sick.
to us are,
I will call upon the storm to drive away the foulness that has settled on the winds.
Oh, she's gonna bring all the people of the Badlands.
lies with the Stormhawks and harnessing the storm. So if Godfrey did indeed kill the Stormhawk King, and Nephili knows this, it would explain why she's willing to fight Godfrey as a form of revenge. And that is where the quest
Oh,
ends.
dude,
So
that's
maybe
insane!
more to this
There's an
quest.
entire
Maybe
freaking
Nephili's
movie
conflict was cut.
inside of a
Let's
side
just
quest in
wait
Elden
for
Ring,
it.
bro. Oh, please bring DLC of, I don't know, let us play as somebody during that freaking war. That sounds awesome.
So if you do know, please leave me a
Or like do
comment.
what you did in Dark Souls, like where you go back in time or something. Oh, that's freaking sick.
Firstly, was the Stormhawk King actually a hawk, or was it just a metaphor? The reason for this question is that we are presuming that he was the old king of Stormvale mentioned in Dean's Ashes. But that would mean a clan of birds living and ruling in the castle, which
I mean, yeah, technically, I mean, why not, huh? Why can't an eagle live in a castle, huh?
is not impossible.
Look at Gandalf in Lord of the
things
Rings.
to exist in the lands between, but it does seem strange. Rather, instead of the Stormhawk King being the ruler of Stormvale, perhaps he was the king of the Hawks, whilst there was another figure who ruled as Stormvale's king. The Stormhawks.
Oh, kind of like how Nephili has,
as mentioned when they
used to have an
finally
eagle as
ended
well.
lifelong service. Now,
It's like
some
Mordecai for
Ashes
Borderlands.
do say that he didn't answer anyone's summons, so this was most likely some sort of
Yeah, see? He's too proud to be summoned, it's awesome.
official relationship. Which leads me into my second point. If the Stormhawk King doesn't answer to anyone, then how come when we give his ashes to Nephili, some sort of reaction happens? Although we don't see Nephili use the summon, it's implied
Maybe
that
the
she might have
Stormhawk
tried to
King
do
and,
so.
like,
And
the
this is
Lord of the
because
castle
Nephili is
ruled
special.
together.
If Nephili is a descendant of Godfrey, and Godfrey defeated the Stormlord, assuming this is the same being as the Stormhawk King, perhaps our bird monarch recognizes this when Nephili touches the ashes. She is of the same blood as the man who defeated him, and now she will become ruler as Kenneth has decreed. In his spirit form, the Stormhawk King acknowledges this and allows Nephili to harness the power. Perhaps he senses her good nature.
That's
This is
awesome.
In a similar fashion to when Godfrey became a lord.
dude defeated the Stormhawk King, and then his potential daughter replaces him using the power of the Stormhawk King to avenge him. Oh, goodness, bro. And not only that, but this is all from, like, Nefeli was brought here by the guidance of grace, and just randomly the guidance stopped at just a perfect time for you to show up and, like, continue the process. It's all part of the Two Fingers plan. What? This is insane. Or the whatever higher power.
Because there are no other characters who have a last name.
Maybe that's why she didn't get the guidance of grace anymore. Like, she was where she had to be. There was nowhere else for her to go until you show up.
A title, a rank, rather
the
than
Elden Lord, in preparation for the new age.
However, I would be inclined to disagree. I think it was intentionally included so we could make the connection.
Because you also take out all the Omen killers, don't you?
To find someone of proper lineage.
So even the Omen can finally get out of the underground.
Discussion is always welcome on my channel. And that is the end to Nefeli's side of the story. I know that I also covered Gideon and Godfrey because it's impossible not to talk about.
Yeah, I have to see the Gideon one. I'm totally missing stuff.
Video for Godfrey and
I don't know why he did what he did.
Time in the spotlight as well. A really big thank you for everyone who's watching this video and the influx of people who recently subscribed to my channel. I'm just really happy that you enjoy watching my content. And I'm especially grateful for your patience as
we'll give you the watch time. We still got a couple minutes.
A little bit longer to create. I made this.
Dude, that's exactly why we need to freaking support all these YouTubers, because long form content is being like pushed out, my dude.
Yeah, I really love doing this, and it means the world that you like it as well. So thank you, everyone, and as always, a special mention here for my channel members: Reeses5, Jawbite, Kyle Coldwell.
That's awesome. I should probably end up doing something like that. Of course, I don't have members yet. I think you need to be to 1,000 subscribers with the, 40,000 hours of watch time in 40 days or something like that. So, I'd be down to do something like that. You guys let me know how you guys would like me to celebrate any supporters out there. But this is cool, dude. I like this. This was awesome. Good video. Great video. We'll give you the watch time. Feed the YouTube algorithm. Yes, the mighty overlords.
Dark Souls Weeb, Grizzlyfy,
Dark Souls Weeb, I love that name.
Bucky, Liver22, Trip Kennedy, ST.
Bro, Liver22 must really like eating liver. I mean, goodness.
Meskir, Lower 420HZ, Carcharodon Zastra, Yoxathoth, Kundry 1.
Carkid, goodness, how did you pronounce that one?
Vinicius Alajo Lego.
Okay, you had to Google that one. Oh, goodness, how do you pronounce that? Oh, that's awesome, my dude. I love it. Love it. Feed the algorithm. Yes. Okay.